Phew, thanks Meadows. Yeah, it certainly is hot today, but it's nice and cool here at my allotment thanks to the shade being provided by these trees and these trees. I have a whole variety of species: apples, cherry, willow, and amongst my plants I also like to keep a real diverse amount of species, and I like to grow lots of different pollinator plants. So some of the things that people might consider to be weeds, I leave a few of those for the bees because they really like them. And I also grow other plants which are really helpful for things like fertilization. And on a hot summer's week like this one is in the heat wave, what I might do is use some of this to create a mulch, and that will help to keep my plants cool. Now, comfrey grows back really quickly, so although I'm leaving the flowery bits for the trees, I can really rip up a lot of these leaves. They'll come back in a couple of weeks, I can guarantee it. What I'm going to do is make a mulch around the plants that I know are struggling a bit, like this one. You can see it's struggling a bit because of the yellow leaves. Now, when I water, the water will go underneath the leaves and it won't evaporate as quickly, which is really helpful on a day like today. In the middle of a heat wave, water evaporates quickly. So I'm going to show you how to water now. Watering is so important during a heat wave. It could not be more important. I know farmers who water 3 times a day in a heat wave, but it's really important that you get out there at least once. And the best time of day to do it is in the morning or the evening. Now, unfortunately, we're kind of in the midday sun, so what I'm about to tell you next is even more important. I'm going to fill up this bucket and then we're going to water my sweet peas. Now, you can see that they need water because you can see these yellow leaves, but what we really don't want to do is actually pour water all over the leaves. So the motto for watering is low and slow. And what you can see where I'm catching that leaf, which isn't ideal, but what we want to be doing is getting right down around the base of the plants, plenty of water around the base. And you can see where I've used a mulch previously and where I put that mulch on just now. That's really going to help to stop the water from evaporating. And you can see how I'm catching those leaves. Well, that's probably the reason that some of them are yellow, is because I'm a little bit of a sloppy waterer. But really what we want to be doing is morning and evening, low and slow. Okay? Mulching like this can also give your plants some nutrients, and all the shade from the plants creates refuges for small insects who are also suffering in the heat. Bee abundance is actually 52 times higher on allotments than it is in other areas like urban parks and roadside verges. And part of that's to do with the diversity of species and the difference of all the types of niches that those species create. So you can see we've got shade from these big leaves. Some of the habitat's a bit more sparse. That creates different environments that create refuge points for biodiversity, especially in a heat wave like this. Having the ground covered can be really, really important. And now we'll take a look at what I consider to be the coolest place in my entire allotment. Another really important thing you can do to support biodiversity at home or in an allotment is to have a pond. But when you do have a pond, you've got to do a little bit of pond maintenance. Unfortunately, in really hot days, wait guys, there's a newt. He's just getting out, and this is why I have to be so careful. I'm going to put him back in. I like to, when I'm cleaning my pond, I just put the stuff just to the side, just for that very reason. Those animals, most of the animals that live in a pond, they can sense where water is, so they'll head back to where they know they want to be. But we don't want it to get too overgrown with all of this green stuff, because it can just strip a little bit too much oxygen from the pond. And what's also really important is to keep your pond topped up. But you mustn't just put the hose straight into the pond. It's really important that you dechlorinate your water by putting it somewhere first. So I filled this up the other day because we've got one other thing that we do for the pond, and that is to have a little fountain. Now, I had this, but It's a solar powered kind of fountain thing, which should aerate the pond a bit, but it got really dirty, so I've given it a clean, and we're about to find out whether it worked or whether it's still filthy, and whether I'm going swimming today. There we go. That's what we want. There you go, newt paradise. There's newt more they could want. Now, I appreciate not everybody has a pond. However, you can make a water feature of any size to support the biodiversity wherever you are in the city. And Meadows, if he's not passed out from the heat, is going to show you how to do it when he gets back to the studio.